A spiritually evolved person tends to age more slowly. They tend to be happier without trying. They tend to be in the flow and not have to control things, and things tend to work out. How do you make yourself a spiritually evolved person? Hey guys, I'm Kaylin. I've written books on spirituality. I lead meditation classes, I do coaching classes, and I've taken people on retreats all over the world. Today we are talking about becoming a spiritually evolved person because there are a lot of us who are advancing in years, and we don't necessarily just want to get old. We want to age well, become wiser, and not necessarily lose that youthful side of side. And there's also a lot of us who want to just stay in that place of being in the flow and having things work out. How do you do that? Is it that the spiritually evolved person meditates? They're intuitive. They were just born that way. Is it that they're just more knowledgeable? What is it about them that just makes everything different? Because it seems like they're wiser and everything about them is different. Well, those things can help, but that's not the real difference. The real difference you can also do for yourself. And that real difference is how they orient themselves. You can call it your mindset, but I'm going to say how you orient yourself. Because when you look in the mirror, a lot of people, they look in the mirror and they let the mirror define them. I'm ugly, I'm tall, I'm rich or poor, I'm creative or not. And that mirror, it isn't just your physical mirror, it's the mirror of life. Maybe they compare, which we're not supposed to do. They compare and they say, that artist is more creative, I'm a bad artist. Or they say, that artist is really bad, I'm a good artist, so why aren't I getting commissions? So no matter what, comparing isn't going to be a part of that orientation and that mindset, not at all. And having life define you, not at all. The spiritually evolved person runs things very differently. They are oriented from themselves. They don't have things happen to them and define themselves as fat, thin, creative, healthy. No, they go the other way. They come from within to without. So that spiritually evolved person, they might say, am I gaining weight? But they're not going to ask their coworker, their spouse, or their best friend, do I look fat in these pants? They would never do that. Instead, they either look in the mirror, get on the scale, or look at their own bodies, become aware of their own bodies, ask their physical body, how are you? How do you feel? Are you in good shape? Are you feeling fluid or rigid, fat? Like, how are you? And then they decide the right thing for them. They might say, you know something? I need to make some healthier choices. What are those healthier choices? Do they have to do with emotional choices? Do they have to do with diet? Do they have to do with exercise? And then they choose the things that they believe, according to their body and their own time with their body, are going to create the health that they're after, the feeling of well-being. They might choose their diet. What does my body need to eat? They aren't going to go to the mirror of life and watch a whole bunch of things or do research and find the latest, trendiest diet and naturally do that. No. Instead, they're going to sit with their body. Does dairy work? Does meat work? Do I need to cut out more sweets? Do I need to cut out carbs? Do I need to eat more fruits and vegetables? What does my body need? Do I need some supplements? Can I get them from food? Do I need to get vitamins? They're going to look at all of that. They're going to sit with their body. They're going to watch their body over time and decide what the right diet is. Same with exercise. They're not just going to jump on the latest trend for exercise. They're going to sit with their body and go, I know, am I a runner and am I not a runner? Do I do long distance? Do I sprint? Am I a yoga person? Am I a swimmer? What is the exercise that works with me and my body? And how long is the right amount of time for me? And how frequently? And they're going to create that plan and live according to it. What emotional thoughts are pulling me down and it's affecting my health? Maybe because of it, either I'm getting sicker and then I want more junk food and I'm not making those healthy choices. And maybe that's why I feel like I'm gaining weight. Then I'm going to cut those out. Well, how do I have to feel? What is a good little mantra for me that helps me get going in the right direction? that reminds me to keep on my healthy choices. Do you see how that spiritually evolved person comes from inside and they define the plan and the program? It doesn't mean that they're dictators within their own lives. It doesn't mean that they're trying to control any of their life. Quite the opposite. Because they have put some of themselves into their decisions and they've monitored themselves and they've come from within and not let the mirror of life be the one to define them, they're co-creating with life. So then things happen, and let's say there's this big dessert and they have a big slice of cake or something like that. They just make corrections. It's not to say that you can't ever have cake in life if you're a spiritually evolved person or if you're a healthy person. It's to say that you are connecting with yourself and you're making decisions with yourself, for yourself, by yourself, as opposed to because things happen to you. Makes all the difference. What happens in relationship? A spiritually evolved person doesn't sit there and go, who's going to like me? Who's going to accept me? I'm just going to have to marry the first person that comes along. No matter whether they're an alien, no matter gender, no. The spiritually evolved person sits there and goes, who's going to match my alignment? The most important things to me are X, Y, and Z. I want someone who's going to match those things. Maybe it's the healthy lifestyle. Maybe it's a spiritual meditative lifestyle. The point is they, again, define it for themselves and then allow the flow of life to bring them that matching partner. Very different angles, very different experiences. When you allow yourself to define yourself in this way, you feel empowered. You feel like a co-creator. And frankly, you'll start to get a sense of how life is working with you and for you, kind of thing. How you are co-creators, because after all, we want to take credit for creating things, but I didn't have the sun come up and I didn't have the person back there mowing their lawn. So instead, you recognize that you're a co-creator and you want that empowered position. When you've got that empowered position, it's a lot easier to naturally do what you love or love what you do and start to attract more and more of it. It's natural not to age so quickly, because a lot of aging has to do with just getting worn out, because the mirror has defined you and you've become its whipping dog, and that wears you out. It makes you old, it makes you tired, it makes you brittle, all the things that we don't really want and that a spiritually evolved person isn't. A spiritually evolved person experiences everything differently because they're oriented from within. Want to learn more about why spiritually evolved people don't age? Check out my video. I'll catch you next time.